We learn words in our Perek, which I don't think we really know what it means. And I got a new insight based on some of my reading that I want to share with you. And I think it's sobering, but it's something that needs to be said. We learned in the Perek all about the fact, and we discussed this, the battle of the Yetzer Hara, Mitachpulas Yetzer Hara of Armaso. And we said that the Yetzer Hara is an Ish Milchamahu Umalumad Bar Mimus. He's a man of war, and he's very, very, very sharp and conniving, and you can't escape him without Chachma Rabbah, Vashkafa Gedola, and then, of course, eventually with a great degree of Siyata Dishmaya. So what does it mean that the Yetzer Hara is a Ish Milchama? So I just want to give you some examples. I'm reading a book about Eisenhower, General, and then President Eisenhower, I didn't really know too much about. And I find there's a lot of chachma in biographies. You get an overall perspective of a person. But anyway, so, and Lo Yom V'Lo Laila, so I look a little bit. So I just want to show you what this is like. He's on the war staff. So right now he's on General Marshal's staff. And he's talking about what the pressure is like in wartime Washington. What does it mean to be an Ish Milchama? He was an Ish Milchama during the war, during 1942, I think this was. Every day is the same. 7:45 a.m. to 11:45 p.m. That's a 16-hour day. That's what it said in his library. Then he wrote his friend Leroy, who was about to join their staff. Dear Roy, just to give you an inkling of the kind of madhouse you're getting into. It's now 8 o'clock on New Year's Eve, right? New Year's Eve, that's not Rosh Hashanah, by the way. You know, by the Goyim, that's a big thing, yeah? I have a couple hours work ahead of me, and tomorrow will be no different from today. So it's 8 p.m. already, Erev the Chagiga, and I've worked today. Tomorrow's not going to be any different. I've been here for about 3 weeks, and this noon, I had my first luncheon outside of the office. First time I had a chance to leave the office in 3 weeks. Usually, it's a hot dog sandwich and a glass of milk, basa v'chalav, okay, yesh ladan, and I've had one evening meal the whole period. So the man's eating a hot dog and milk, and once in 21 days he got outside, and this is what he's doing as he's getting ready for the big Yom Tov. And then, this is really incredible, there was someone who was named Patrick Hurley, who was a former secretary. So, I think secretary means the secretary of the war, but he sounds like he was really high up there. And then, it was the war, so he was already in the Hoover administration, so it had been years and years before this, I think. So, he's probably an older person in his 50s, 60s. And he offered his services to FDR, and Roosevelt sent him to Marshall, who sent him to Ike. That's Eisenhower. Okay. So we're looking for someone to help us in Australia. Eisenhower's job at this point was to be mechazik the Philippines. That they were worried the Philippines was going to get run over by the Japanese. We needed someone to organize blockade runners for MacArthur. And Hurley was perfect for the job. Okay, why he's perfect is not... You can Ein Sham B'fnim. It's page 183. Kuf Pei Gimel. So he comes to Eisenhower. This older person, he's definitely older than Eisenhower, I think. It seems, right? Eisenhower had served under him during the last 3 years of the Hoover administration. So he goes to someone younger than him, and he says, when can you report for duty? Like, when are you ready? Now. Okay. What does Eisenhower say to him? Again, to an older person. Come back at midnight, prepared for extended field duty. He promotes him to brigadier general on the spot. They didn't have any stars for the thing, so he gave him one of his stars, I guess lent him. He put him on a night flight to Australia with $10 million, which today is about $120 million, to buy whatever supplies. It's incredible. Eisenhower gets to that point, he's not living even, his wife isn't even there, of course, she's wherever she is. because he just got plucked to Washington. He's living with his brother, Milton, in outside Washington, in Falls Church, Virginia. Every night when I reach their house, sometime around midnight, both would be waiting up for me with a snack of midnight supper and a pot of coffee. Why is drinking coffee at that point? I don't know. He has to get back there by 7:45 in the morning. Okay, but I cannot remember ever seeing their house in daylight during all the months in Washington. So you get the idea over here, right? This is what an Ish Milchama is doing. 16-hour days, hot dogs and milk, commanding people older than himself who had been already or being demoted and just doing whatever they can for the war cause, getting shipped out on a few hours' notice, armed with millions and millions of dollars, and then the support staff giving some coffee, waiting out for him, appreciating his efforts. Now, this is the real kicker. Speaking low, not to bother my neighbors, if you're wondering why. It's late at night, couldn't sleep. So he's still, I guess they make things like the Hara Shah, we would call it. And in the regular army, so Eisenhower's still lieutenant colonel, but he had to be made a major general. So he's not a major general, but he's a major general for the wartime. Okay. 2 weeks before that, that's on March 28th. I think this is, right, just to get some sense, if it's not so important, we're not learning the history of the war, but Pearl Harbor is December 7, 1941. Everybody remembers. This is March 28th, about 5-6 months after that, in 1942. I think, if I'm catching it right. Not important. But anyway, so his father passes away in Abilene. So his wife, Mamie, receives the message, and he said, oh, what a terrible thing I had to tell him. He is a wonder. People said he worked right on, and no one could have known him. He gets the phone call, Dad died. Okay, sorry, puts the phone down. Ike Stowe is in Max's Phoenix. I felt terribly he recorded on his office notepad that evening. I should like so much to be with my mother these days, but we're at war, and war is not soft. It was no time to indulge even in the deepest and most sacred emotions. I'm quitting work now, 7:30 p.m. I haven't heart to go on tonight. Okay, so that he gave in already. At 7:30 p.m., he heard, kept working, you couldn't see it on him, but 7:30 he couldn't go on. But he couldn't indulge in his deep and most sacred emotions. And David Eisenhower is buried, and he didn't even go, it sounds like. At the War Department, again, we're not donning the dastar of what's the right thing to do. That's not the point here. I hope everybody appreciates, right? We're just looking at the example. Eisenhower closed his door for half an hour to reflect upon his father. Incredible. So this is what an Ish Milchama is. Absolute dedication, focus, no bluff, no muff, no, right? Pushing aside human emotions. Why do I share all this? Because I think it just gives us a picture when we, or, Baruch Hashem, of course, some of our friends might be Chayalim, who are more experienced. God bless you. But the normal person, we don't know what is it an Ish Milchama really. This is what an Ish Milchama is. And this is what the Yetzer Hara is. So this is what we're up against. So I'm not giving the solutions. And I think Mesilas Yesharim is giving us a lot of solutions, of course. And that's the whole life, is to find solutions. But forewarned is forearmed. We have to know what we're up against in this battle of ours with the Yetzer Hara. Who is he? This is what he's an Ish Milchama. By the way, Mesilas Yesharim tells us he's not just an Ish Milchama, he's Melumad Bar Mimus. He knows what he's doing. He's a general. He's a staff officer. He's on the planning committee. He's working all out, right? So it's not just that he's working. There's something working like a dog, hot dogs and milk, and there's something that's working efficiently, working really smart. So the Yetzer Hara is both an incredibly hardworking person, and he's not only an incredibly hardworking person, he's also really, really bright. So that's what we're up against. And we see how matzliach he is in the world. because he's such a kilkulim in the world. So he's got it all, right? He's got the work ethic, he's got the talents, and he's got the kabbalot. He's proven a success. So I wish myself and all of us hatzlacha against this great enemy. Now that we know a little bit better what he's about, hopefully we'll be more matzliach. Hatzlacha.